Hey there, scholars. Welcome to another lesson in well-ordered language. Before we jump in, I just wanted to do a couple housekeeping and maybe a little inspiring. So first, a little housekeeping. If you have not finished iReady, all the fourth grade teachers and I would like you to finish iReady today. It's important so that we can see the data, so that we can figure a plan for next year so that we can teach better. So if you haven't finished the reading or the math, reading should have been done already. Today's the last day to get math done, so make sure to get those done. And just want to take a moment to hopefully inspire you, to show you that learning doesn't stop in the classroom. It keeps going after you leave school. So over the weekends, when I'm not making videos for you guys or checking on Google Classroom, I've been teaching myself some stuff. Some of the skills that I've learned in school on essentially how to learn, I have applied that to my own life and been able to teach myself some stuff. So my wife and I, we are very creative. So we have been on the weekends been restoring this old chair, and then we actually built a coffee table. So I've been teaching myself how to make furniture. I've also been painting a lot, been teaching myself some new painting techniques. So just wanted to take a moment and inspire you that learning doesn't stop. You can always teach yourself how to do something. So yeah, hope you were inspired by that. Let's jump into our lesson. Now, last week we pretty much finished up our unit, chapter 1. So I'm going to backtrack and do like a little bit of a review of the chapter that we finished before we went into distant learning. And I found a tale that I think you guys will enjoy. And then on Thursday this week, we will do our last of our analyzing sentences. And then next week, we got some fun stuff planned for our last week of school. So let's get going. Have you ever heard of the expression, be careful what you wish for? Sometimes we think we want something greater and more spectacular than our imaginations can handle. Yet, we might find that our whimsical wishes are more destructive than helpful. In this folk tale, a poor couple learns a valuable lesson that what comes from their mouths can be more dangerous than fairy-like. As we read, I want you to think about, would you say the moral of this tale is? This is called The Sausage, a folk tale of Sweden that's been adapted. There was once a poor old lady who was granted 3 wishes by a fairy queen. 3 wishes! The old lady exclaimed with delight, and she began to think what she could wish for. She expected her husband back soon, and she thought it would be best to wait until he came home and could have a say in the matter. But the least they could wish for must be fine, big farm. Must be a fine big farm, the best in the parish, and a box full of money. And just fancy how happy and comfortable they would be then, for they had worked so hard all their days. Ah, yes, then the neighbors would have something to wonder at, for you may guess how they would stare at all the fine things she would have. But now that they would soon be so rich, it was really a shame that there should be nothing but some blue sour milk and some hard crusts of bread in the cupboard for her husband when he came home tired and weary. He who is fond of hot food. She had just been to their neighbors, and there she had seen a fine big sausage which the neighbors were going to have for supper. "Ah, dearie me, I wish I had that sausage here," she sighed. The old lady sighed. And the next moment, a big sausage lay on the table right before her. She was just going to put it in the pan when her husband came in. "Husband, husband," cried the old lady, "it's all over with our troubles and hard work now. I lent my brewing pan to a fine woman, and when she brought it back, she said she was a fairy queen and promised we could have 3 wishes. Now you must help me to wish for something really good, for you're so clever at hitting upon the right thing. And that's all true, for just look at the sausage, which I got the moment I wished for it." "What do you mean, you silly old woman?" shouted the husband, who became angry. "Have you been wishing for such a paltry or pitiful thing as a sausage, when you might have had anything you would like in the world? I wish the sausage were sticking to your nose, since you haven't had any better sense than that." All at once the woman cried with horror, for there attached to her nose was the sausage. She began tugging and pulling and pulling and tugging, but no matter what she did, the sausage clung to her nose. Oh dear, bawled the old woman. "You don't seem to have any more sense in wishing than I do. Since you wish such a terrible wish, I only wanted something nice for you, but you wanted ill for me. Oh dear." And she kept on sobbing. The husband began to wring his hands in distress. He then tried with all his might to pull the sausage off her nose. The more he tugged, the tighter it became. The tighter it became, the louder she cried. He even nearly pulled her nose right off her head. Finally, the two stared at each other. They had one more wish. And what were they to do? What were they to wish for now? On the one hand, they could still wish for the fine big farm and the box full of money. But on the other hand, if they could have all the grand things, how could they enjoy them with a sausage stuck to her nose? "You go ahead and make the final wish," whimpered the old lady in despair. No, you make the wish," said the husband, as he began to cry tears of shame for what his foolish wish had brought them. At last he knew he had only one thing he could wish, and he said, "I wish that my dear wife was rid of that sausage." Suddenly the sausage was gone. The old lady and the old man kicked up their heels and pranced about like spring chickens in the chicken yard. As for the sausage, it was ever so delicious for their dinner that night. So some questions to ponder, something that you can talk to your grown-ups with, find a sibling, brother, sister to talk to, or comment on Google Classroom your responses to these. What happened in the story? This would be great for you to retell to someone who hasn't read it. Tell them what happened in the story. These two, I would love for you to comment on Google Classroom what you think. In what ways are the old lady and the old man selfish? Remember, we like to show our evidence from the text. So tell me, where in the text did it say they were selfish? In what ways were the old lady and the old man generous? Again, prove it from the text. How are they generous? How do you know that? And the last one, do you think they were happy at the end, and why? So that one's an opinion. Do you think they were happy at the end? There's evidence from the text to show why, to support your opinion. All right, that's all I have today. I will see everyone on Thursday. And remember, if you have any questions, ask them on Google Classroom. Bye.